Today we start reading some excerpts from one of the books in the Old Testament, the book of Tobit. So it's written after the hero, the focus of this book, Tobit. So this was written around 200 years before the birth of Jesus. And how is it classified? It is classified as wisdom literature, something we can hold on to. It is the fruit of life's experience, the fruit of people's heroic deeds, heroic decisions. So we have the whole week today until Saturday, and the book of Tobit covers 14 chapters, which is just the epilogue. So we will be taking excerpts from the first 12 chapters. So we heard how Tobit was in a foreign land, and yet he was very faithful in carrying out their tradition as a Jew. He lost his job because of practicing his faith, and yet that did not stop him from being faithful to his faith. I think all of us know that we have 7 corporal works of mercy. One of them is burying the dead. And before this was in a way institutionalized, established, long before that, Tobit practiced the idea of, because it was in their faith, in their belief, tradition, to bury the dead out of respect for the dead. So we see how Tobit was a man of charity. They had a feast. He asked his son, "Son, try to look for someone with whom we can share our meal." That's what he did. But along the way, the son said he found somebody, a Jew, who was killed, who was murdered. And so he felt it was his obligation, in spite of risking his life, to bury the dead, which he did. So that's one of Tobit's ordeal. And later on, he gets blind, which is not easy. When you are used to seeing things, suddenly you lose your sight. That's a very difficult ordeal. And yet he trusted in God. So, and yet we will see the drama of Tobit throughout the week, because his son eventually will get married, and eventually his sight will be restored. So right now, as I said, what we are reminded is the importance of being firm in our belief, in living out our faith in spite of rejection, in spite of persecution, practicing charity, love for others. And this is what the gospel today reminds us also. The stone that was rejected by the builders has become the cornerstone. Of course, it's clear that the parable refers to Israel as a nation that rejected the coming of Jesus, the Messiah. And yet, we know that God has His own ways to show His wisdom. Perhaps some of us, or all of us, remember 2 important people. Edison, Thomas Alva Edison. He was the one who invented the incandescent bulb. And he had more than 1,000 patents, many inventions. And yet when he was a young boy, he was expelled from school because the teacher said he was mentally retarded. And yet later on, he proved that he could do something. Another person, Albert Einstein. We know him as the one who formulated energy. And yet, what happened? Again, he was considered not performing, and even at the age of 15, he didn't get a diploma because somehow they consider him not in a way intelligent or even an average student. And yet later on, he showed that he could do many things. I think we can see here the wisdom of God. Things cannot sometimes just be boxed the way we see things, because God has His own way of looking at things. And we see this in the life of His Son, who tells us important truths about life, about ourselves, like in contrast with the world, who is considered rich. In the world, those who have plenty of possessions. And yet in the kingdom, it is those who value relationships. Relationship with God, family relationship, relationship with people. It's how we relate. This will determine the real treasures that we possess in life. Let's ask for the grace that we may always be open to the ways of the Lord. Pope Francis reminds us that we should always listen as we journey with people around us, for in them we will encounter Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life. Amen.